Good day, everyone. My title is all about comprehending prose. Comprehension, the ability to understand completely and be familiar with a situation, facts, and etc. A test to find out how will students understand writing or spoken language. From Latin word prosa, part of the phrase prosa oratio, meaning straightforward speech or a natural flow of speech. Written or spoken language in its ordinary form without metrical structure, writing in full grammatical sentences which then constitutes paragraphs. So, in prose, we have introduction, types of prose, narrative, and elements of prose. So, the first types of prose is fiction, which have example of short story, novel, novella, folktale, legend, fable, and parable. And the next one is non-fiction. The biography, autobiography, history, letter, and diary, and journal. The fiction is more on imaginary, and the non-fiction is the real events of life. So, elements of narrative. Narrative is telling stories, true or false, factual or fictional in any medium. Is an activity which results in a story being told, an event represented and reported. So, elements of narrative. The narrative text, we have two elements, story and discourse. Story is what is told. Kung giunsa pag what is told, and discourse is how is it's told. Now, elements of prose fiction. The first one is we have plot, character and characterization, setting, point of view, and theme. So, in plot is the structure, framework, or skeleton of the story. The story arc that holds all the events of a story in an orderly way. E.M. Foster. The casual and logical structure that connects events. So, plot is the flow of the story. We have the Freytag's pyramid. We have introduction, which exposition, complication or rising action, the climax, the denouement or falling action, and the resolution. So, plot. The first one is introduction or exposition. The beginning of the story where the characters and settings are established. So, introduction is the pag-ila-ila sa mga characters or where is the settings behind the story. So, rising action, complication that arise when the characters take steps to resolve their conflict. The climax, the turning point of the story, and it's meant to be the moment of highest interest and emotion. So, diri is kanang pinaka-highlight na sa story, which is pinaka-highlight na sa story's event of the story. And the falling action is the conflict is in the process of being resolved or unrevealed. So, wa pa na human ang highlight diri dapit sa story. And the resolution or denouement, when the problem or conflict is resolved and the story ends. So, diri na part is na okay na ang story or happy ending ba or sad story. Character and characterization. What is character? So, a character, a person or being, a story that performs the action of the plot. So, So, ang character is kung kinsa to ang ga-perform sa story. Ang characterization, the process by which the writer reveals the personality of the character. So, ang characterization is mo ni siyang gitawag itong protagonist or antagonist kung unsa iyahang character dito sa story. So, the character and the characterization. So, the types of character. We have antagonist, protagonist, dynamic, and statistic. So, ang antagonist is katong kaaway. Then, sa protagonist. Ang protagonist is the leading man and the dynamic and statistic is kanang mga supportive ra sila nga mga persons sa story. So, character and characterization. Continue ni siya. Direct characterization. Example, he was a simple, good-natured man. He was moreover a kind neighbor and obedient hand-picked husband. So, ang kining direct is mura siya og kanang kuan siya nga, kana siya nga tao is kanang simple siya, work iyang kuan ang character bitaw sa isa iyang characterize ang isa ka tao. So ang indirect is siya mismo indirect characterization is example, I jumped up knocking over my chair and had reached the door when mama called, pick up the chair, sit down again and say excuse me. The Scarlet Abyss by James Hurst. So kini siya is kanang siya na mismo ang gabuhat sa pag-character. So, kikibaling, I jump up. So, di ba, sitting. Okay. The historical time and place and the social circumstances in the world of the literature. So, ang settings is katunang na geographic location with and cultural backdrop, artificial environment which the buildings, properties, or furniture. Kung asa dapit sila nagheld sa isa ka drama or story. So, settings. Look, for example, we have like as he is to look at. So he is his apartment in the dusk of the present afternoon, rusty, out of date. Withdrawing from attention, able to afford it. Heavy broad-backed old-fashioned mahogany and horse-hair chairs not easily lifted. Obsolete tables with spindle legs and dusty base covers. Presentations prints of the holders of great titles in the last generations, or the last but one, environ him. A thick and dingy Turkey carpet muffles the floor where he sits, attended by two candles in old-fashioned silver candlesticks that give a very insufficient light to his large room. Dickens' Black House. So, this example is nagpakita siya kung unsa ang furniture ang ilang naa sa iyang kuan, unsa ang kanang panahon sa iyahang apartment, which is naani sila kiniupat na topography nga asa sa dapit na sa apartment, cultural way of life or buildings na din. So, point of view is how an author tells his or her reader about a character. So, the first person is involving the use of either of the two pronouns I and we. So, sa ato kay nabi hilig og magbasa og Wattpad. So, kabalo na gyud sa point of view sa third person, first person. So, ang the second person is employing the pronoun you. So, the you. The third person, omniscient, entering the thought of every character. So, kini siya is taga-character na ni siya kung sa ilang kuan. So, third person limited is entering the thought of one person. So, third person is murag nagkuan bitaw siya nga sa katong sa character gid nga iyang gi-describe. So, kasagaran nato na siya makita ang point of view kay nasa ebook, story, Wattpad. So, I have an example of point of view is this is the first person example. I have of late, but wherever I know not, loss of my mirth, forgone all costume of exercises, and indeed it goes so heavily with my disposition, and that this goodly frame, the earth seems to me a sterile promontory, Hamlet by Shakespeare's. So, muna siyang gitawag og first person kay di ba ang first person is nag-anog I or we. So, second example is Harry had taken up his place at Wizard School, where he and his car were famous, but not the school year was over, and he was back with the Dursley for the summer, back to being treated like a dog that had rolled in something smelly. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. So, asam ni siya dapit? So, kini siya is kanang nag-enter the third person nga nag-describe sa isa ka character which is si Harry Potter. So, the theme, so, a main idea or underlying meaning of a literary work that may be stated directly or indirectly. Examples of themes, the love and friendships, so crime and mystery, and war and revenge. So, kini siya is tema sa isa ka story kibali. I fall in love with my best friend kanang na-inlove ka sa mohang best friend kibali. Tema siya sa isa ka story kung unsa siya nag-end. So, that's all. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.